Hi everyone, this is Hannah here. I wanted to get started on the scrapbook tutorial for the June box. Now in the box you get a 12 by 12 piece of chipboard. I had this piece left over from something and it's 12 by 9, so I'm just going to go ahead and take it. I'm going to cut 6 inches all the way down. Now this is some pretty thick stuff. I have this paper cutter that I like to use. So, all right. And it does cut pretty good actually. Man, pretty thick, huh? Let's see. All right. So got that, and then I've got 3 inches left. I'm going to go ahead and just cut it off at 6, and then I'm going to take this and cut this off at 6 as well. So we have a 6 by 6 book with a little 3-inch spine here. So that's going to be a nice little book. So now I'm going to take, and I'm doing something a little bit different from the steps that came in your box. I want to layer this with the white cardstock and then come back with the colored paper. Since the 12 by 12 paper is not a true 12 by 12. It's 11 3/4 by 11 3/4. So when I cut it in half, it's going to be 5 7/8, which is perfect if you're wanting that little 1/8 inch border around. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this at the 6 inches. And then I'm going to have a piece. So we are going to take and cut this piece that's going to wrap around this 5 inches by 6 inches. So we got that piece done. Then you're going to have 2 white cardstock pieces, or whatever color cardstock you got in your box. Some got white, some got gray, some got black. I thought that all of the colors went really well. And so I have 1 piece to cover over that one. Let me grab another piece. Okay, so we're going to cut this down to 6 by 6. Okay, and I'm just going to leave these leftover pieces for now because we'll probably do something with them soon. Okay, so now we are going to glue everything down. Okay, so we will have that and this with that and this. All right, and then also in your box, you got a piece of Tyvek. Tyvek is some really good stuff. It really helps keep your book sturdy. You know, from the opening and closing of it, it can wear out the papers and cause them to rip. But if you have this in between the layers, this will not rip. I mean, it's very, very, very sturdy. About the only way you can do something to it is to cut it. So we will be putting this in between, and if I put these 2 pieces, that would be enough. Okay, yeah, that looks like that would be plenty. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut it in half. Now my piece has the sticky back to it, but I'm also going to add the glue on it as well. All right, so let's see here. So I'm going to add, and I like to use the Alien's Tacky Glue. I really like that. Kind of get some of this Sometimes it has a little glue buildup, so I like to get that out of the way. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and just do the sticky side down, I think. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and do it with the other piece as well. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to wipe up that glue there. Okay, and I think I probably should have put this down to begin with. So, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece down. And you can use the score tape that came in your box. I used to use score tape all the time. And that's typically what a lot of people use when they're doing scrapbooking. In making scrapbooks over time, I noticed that the score tape loses its stickiness. And so I try to make scrapbooks that will hold up, you know, for years to come. I do still put in the score tape because that seems to be what the customers want. They really like the score tape. And, you know, and so that's why I put it in. But of course, if you did want me to put in, you know, something else, you know, a bottle of the Aleene's Tacky Glue or Mod Podge, both are really good. You know, even Elmer's glue is good once I glue it on. So see, I'm going to glue this onto my piece, and then I'll take and glue it like this. And you're not really going to be able to see that overlapped part because we're going to cover it up with paper anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. So we're going to go ahead and add some glue. And another reason why people do prefer the score tape, I guess because each piece gets the same amount of glue. It's, you know, sometimes with the wet glue, you know, you can, maybe it bubbles up or it does something that, you know, that you don't like, I guess. Some people don't like the bubbling up. I don't put like a ton of glue. And you could also get a fine applicator. And I do have one, but I struggle to seem to get it to work, and it always clogs up. Because I bought one for, I think the Fabri-Tac. I think I had bought one like a ultra fine, and used that. But it and that one, yeah, it kept getting plugged up, so it didn't really work. And then the art glitter glue does, I think it does come with a fine, or at least the one that I bought did. You know, it came with the fine one. Okay, let's see here. And you could use scissors to cut the edge. You could use your X-Acto knife or utility knife. Okay. So I'll glue that down in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and do this piece. Okay. See, I'm not putting like a ton of glue. Let me add a little bit more on this one corner piece though. Okay. Okay. Try to line it up as best as I can. Whoops. Seem to have slid it over a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to just trim the white around. Okay. Try to have everything as flush as I can, you know. Okay. All right, let's see here. Okay, got that piece. And then let's see here, this one. Okay. Okay. In fact, let's see. I'll go ahead and just kind of run it up here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and add some glue to these little flaps here. Okay. All right, so we're going to just kind of glue that like that. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside for a minute. You want to kind of let it dry. Since we are using the wet glue, you know, you kind of want it to set in place a little bit before you start doing stuff to it. So let me move this aside. We're going to take our cardstock and we're going to cut it down. And this was the page that I chose to go on the outside of the book. Really, really pretty paper. This was the first time that we had ever designed our own paper, and I think it really turned out great. I mean, I really just love the colors, the style, I guess this just, it speaks to me because it's like it's my style, you know, it's what I like. So, okay, so, all right, let's see here. I think since we know it's not going to wrap all the way around, what we're going to do is, let's see, I think I'm going to cut it where it's the 5 7/8. And then we're going to go ahead and cut it in half. So, and see, one will go on the front, one on the back. I think I'll just do this on the front. It's really pretty, this on the back. I usually kind of like to have the back of my album plain, but maybe a pretty picture or something on it. So that rose is really pretty. So we'll do that. And then, I'm not really sure how I would like to have the spine. I'm trying to think, you know, like what would look good in the middle here. Maybe the leaf, maybe just a plain piece, you know, or maybe just cut this, like flip it over, maybe do that. I kind of like that actually. All right, so we've got our piece. I'm going to just cut at 3 inches, and I might cut it down to 2 7/8, but you know, sometimes when you measure, it might end up being short, and I don't want it to be too short, you know, where there's too much of a gap. So we've got this, we've got our paper cut, and so we'll be gluing that on the outside. It's not a super big deal on what, I guess, doing the cover first. I think for this, I might actually glue the paper and the embellishments on the front last, or at least do the embellishments last. That way make it easier to get the inside of your book put together.